In 2021, I first became aware of and involved in a rather interesting case from Alaska, which would prove to be one of the most fascinating investigations I've been a part of, and one I think about quite a bit. Here's a synopsis of this case and my involvement over the years. I came into contact with a property owner who reached out to me about a cabin he had built in a remote area of Alaska's majestic Kenai Peninsula, only accessible by boat. In the few years since building the cabin, the owner and his various guests had experienced a range of strange things, such as hearing loud, mysterious vocalizations, whistles, primate-like whoops, rocks being thrown towards the cabin, into their boat, witnessing rocks flying into the ocean, hearing a hollow baseball bat knock-like sound, mysterious gunshot-like sounds, things going missing, strange footprints found, trail cameras ripped off of trees, and even a few possible glimpses of large bipedal creatures in the thick forests. The most unusual of which was a strange baby crying sound, only heard on a few occasions when women were present on the property. The owner began keeping a record of all strange things and eventually came into contact with Sasquatch researchers and groups like the North American Wood Ape Conservancy, David Ellis of the Olympic Project, Doug Hychek of Monster Quest and Legend Meets Science, Dr. Robert Alley of Rain Coast Sasquatch, and others like local Alaskan investigators Larry Beans Baxter and Rob Roy Menzies. He began to record audio on the premises and recorded a variety of unusual clips such as these. In 2022, I first ventured out to the cabin to visit what has been nicknamed Area A. Staying 1 week on site, we experienced some strange but ultimately inconclusive things. Mysterious gunshots were heard, including one being recorded by accident. One late night, while a few of us were around a campfire in the woods, we heard what I can only describe as knocks, and what sounded like rocks being thrown, hitting debris, crashing into the rocky beach before hitting the water.
Yep, smoke. Whoa.
We never did see anything on our thermals, but the terrain was very wooded and hilly. While camping on a nearby ridge, one evening in between light rain, we heard what I can only describe as possible knocks, stomping-like sounds coming closer and then getting far away. I would attempt to scan with my thermal, but the terrain and wet conditions did not allow me to see much. I also discovered an unusual-looking human-like handprint on the backside of the cabin on its metal siding. We documented this, and shortly after our visit, Larry Beans Baxter used his prior law enforcement training to swab some samples and lift the print. We are currently still awaiting test results on the samples. This was all compiled into a documentary called The Alaskan Coastal Sasquatch, which many of you have likely seen. I must say that none of what we experienced by any means is proof positive of Sasquatch. It just seems to fit the purported behavior that's been documented elsewhere in North America for some time, or at least that's my theory. In 2023, I returned again to Area A in order to spend 2 full weeks on site in hopes that we would be able to document more potentially interesting events during a longer duration stay. Very rough weather ensued, and it rained for nearly the entire duration of the trip, but we did our best to explore the area. We also deployed a thermal drone, using it frequently, but we were only able to capture Sitka black-tailed deer with the drone, proving that they do reside in this area despite allegations by state authorities that Sitka blacktails are not found on this part of the Kenai Peninsula. Those 2 weeks were part of a 5-part series called The Dark Coast: Hunt for the Alaskan Bigfoot, which methodically documented each day of the journey. Overall, it was a much quieter trip than our first the previous year. Aside from a few possible things heard, there was nothing as definitively unusual as the first trip. One of the things of interest that we observed on the environment were quite a few footprints found in the moss, which were not definitive but intriguing nonetheless. That trip left me with more questions than answers. It seemed the stranger activity had died down from the initial few years from when the cabin was built, but then picked up again, slowed down again, and seemingly had picked up recently. In the last year or so, while building some additional small cabins near the original cabin, a few new things took place, including a possible glimpse of something upright ducking down in the woods by a few people. Maybe the increased human commotion was resulting in more activity. It's hard to say, but either way I wanted to find out for myself. So in the summer of 2025, I finally returned to Area A once again. First would begin the long but beautiful drive from Anchorage to the Kenai Peninsula itself. This trip I would be joined by my friend Brian Garvey, who you've likely seen in a few of the previous Beyond the Trail videos. He's somebody I've come to trust very much in the woods. We would also be joined once again by Rob Roy Menzies, who has been coming out to Area A for some time, experiencing quite a few things over the years. He was there for our 2022 trip, but couldn't make it out there for the 2-week trek the following year, so it was exciting to have Rob Roy with us again. Heading back to the cabin for the first time in 2 years. Well, it's a little noisy on here, but what do you think, Rob Roy? We're heading back out to...
I think, yeah, this is going to be an epic trip. I think I'm hoping that we have our own little PG moment out there this trip.
You can never know.
Sounds like it's super hot out there. So, we're going to have a blast.
We have a special guest here as well, Mr. Brian.
Yes.
Are you excited, man?
Very excited. First time setting foot in Alaska.
There you go.
And
Yep.
it's unbelievable.
Yeah.
Unbelievable.
No Chewy, unfortunately.
What an introduction.
No Chewy on this one, Rob.
But
I know.
we'll make it work.
We'll make it up to him.
So we're heading out now, and
Yep.
should be exciting.
Oh, it's going to be...
back at Area A. What do you think?
Oh,
Benny,
feels good.
When was the last time you came out here?
Last year. This is the first time this summer I've been out here. And I've got good feelings about this.
Yeah.
I hope I win.
The vibes are good.
Yeah, they are. They're awesome. Beautiful.
All right, well, finally I'm back at Area A. It's been 2 years since I came out here. I cannot tell you how excited I am to be back at a place that honestly I think about almost every day, and just the beauty of it, the remoteness, all the factors that come into play as to why this is such an amazing location, that some of the stuff we've experienced out here. We're going to be spending this week out here and doing some pretty intense exploration up higher into the mountains, continuing where we left off with the Dark Coast series and of course the Alaskan Coastal Sasquatch before that. If you haven't seen those, check that out. It'll give you a good basis as to the history here. I'm not going to really rehash all that. I'll talk about where some of the incidents have happened, of course, as we go through this, but man, it is, as I just look around, it's so peaceful and quiet out here. There's been a lot of recent activity. Some folks that have been staying here have heard the mysterious gunshot type noises. There's even been a couple possible sightings in the last couple of years since I came out here. Fleeting glimpses of stuff moving up in the ridgeline behind and something dropping down very quickly. The activity seems to have, I don't want to say increased, but kind of continued. The year we came out for Dark Coast, we had almost nothing happen, nothing of note, and it seems like since then there's another factor at play. There's been a couple of smaller cabins that have been built behind the main cabin, so I don't know if that has anything to do with it. We will see, but our goal definitely at some point this week will be to push up higher into the mountains than we've ever been before, see if that disturbs anything, or if going into the domain, if there is this creature here and that's its domain, maybe going up there will attract some kind of attention. That will be seen. But for now, we're going to just hang out. We're going to do a fire at the upper fire pit where we've had a bunch of stuff happen before, and kind of take it easy today. And then tomorrow we'll start with more exploration. And yeah, I mean, we have this whole week to just kind of explore and really try out some stuff and just see if we can get any other interesting results. So I'm just so excited to be back at Area A, and I've got some great folks here with me, and we're super excited to be here at Area A for what hopefully will be a very productive week. As we settled in and took in the stunning settings, Rob Roy and a few of the others went for a boat ride to do some fishing, with Brian and I staying behind. It was during this time, as we were kind of just hanging out and getting some footage, that suddenly Brian and I heard this strange rock scraping kind of sound that caught us off guard. The direction where the rocks...
Yep, it was right over
over there. And there's a rocky beach over there. Yeah, get... What did we just hear, dude?
It was like rocks hitting each other, but not like a rock slide.
You were standing here,
I
I was up
standing-
on the deck,
Yeah.
and we're hearing like...
It was like crack, crack, crack. It was rocks like hitting, rubbing. I wouldn't say like falling. I wouldn't say, there's a difference between falling and like clacking, and it felt like it was rubbing. It was almost like it was rubbing rocks.
It was weird, but it came
was
from
the
that
weirdest-
direction. Yeah.
I've never heard rocks.
We don't have audio rolling in.
Like
We
that.
didn't have audio rolling in.
No audio. Just setting up to
Literally
do some
do a
drone
drone
shots.
This is how it always happens. All right, well.
It does. Usually happens when you least expect it, or when you are not prepared, or you
Yep.
didn't set up, or we did not set up any audio.
Well, that's a good sign. That's either...
It's a good sign, and we're gonna go fly
It
over
either
there
is
right
something
now.
or it isn't.
Un-
You gotta be kidding me. Even though my drone doesn't have thermal capabilities, I immediately sent it up over that area to check it out. With the darkness setting in, the drone was becoming largely useless in the low light. So Brian, man, we're out here at Area A. What do you think? This is your first time in Alaska. Just give me some initial impressions, right off the cuff.
Honestly, how quiet it is right now. The quietness in this area it's unbelievable. And then the eeriness, the mountains surrounding us. It's such a beautiful place. It is gorgeous. And I can see why there'd be activity around here. It's just a prime location. And with what's happened here in the past,
Yeah.
it's definitely an area that I look forward to going out.
That's the key, is getting up higher.
Getting up higher, seeing what's out there, where not many people have gone.
No, not in a long time. There used to be a community here, I think over 100 years ago, but that's long since.
Yeah, that's long. But yeah, to go up to where you said there's a meadow and a lake.
There's the lake up there, and I can't fly my drone up there now because
the fog.
It's fogged up. You can't see it, so I can get up there, but we won't see it. So I would like to be able to see it when we have some clearer weather, because that's an area that I think has potential. Get up into like a high safety zone. But yeah, it is so quiet. We did hear something a little while. You were standing down here. I was up on the deck.
It was very strange. I hate to say rock clacking because it was more rock. It was almost like rubbing.
Moving.
It was almost a moving rub. Yeah, it was just different. And the pace it was at was just different. It wasn't like rocks falling down. It was a different sound. It was, and it went for a while. It wasn't like a couple seconds.
Sustained.
It was
like
10,
15 seconds.
It was a long time to where we're looking.
I started looking at you. I'm like,
what is that?
I'm pointing that direction.
And we're already saying we don't have recorders out. We're already mad at ourselves. Stupid. But it was just.
I was like yelling at you to turn my camera on and just press record. Like, dude, because I was up on the deck and you were down here. The camera was right next to you, and I'm like, shit.
And then I'm fiddling with the camera, and it went silent.
I know, and then
it went dead silent.
But it was interesting. I mean,
it
didn't sound like here. I don't want to say it didn't sound coincidental, but maybe it sounded intentional. It didn't sound like a rock slide to me, and there wouldn't be a rock slide here on the beach. I mean, I would expect that higher up in the mountains.
Exactly.
But that, I don't know. I mean, maybe that's what we heard. We can't say, obviously.
We can't. It was very slow.
Right.
Grind, almost like rubbing rocks together.
It was
just rubbing rocks together.
Weird. Yeah.
It wasn't very fast either.
Yeah.
It was slow.
Right.
And that's what is appealing. That's what was like the oh shit moment.
Looking at each other like,
oh, that's different. That's different.
Okay, yeah. All right, well, in synopsis, we're here. We have, the 5 days basically.
5 days. It's our first night here.
First night here. We're gonna
something
do
weird happens within 2 hours. We're here. So is that a sign? Is that
we can only be hopeful.
It's all we can only hope and see what tomorrow brings. See what tonight brings.
Yeah, man. Well, it's good to have you here either way, and I'm going to talk to Rob Roy. I mean, they went out and do some fishing, but we're out here alone. That this happened after they took the boat out.
Right after they took the boat. Yes.
I don't know.
Now you start going back and you're like, it happened after. Yeah, it happened right after they left.
I don't know.
Right after we started setting up, and then just a weird rubbing rocks.
Yes. So.
Rock rubbing. Rock rubs.
Rock rubs. We're trademarking the rock rubs. That's a new one. I mean, there's been rock stuff heard on this beach before, like rocks thrown and audio, but I don't know if that's been heard yet. So that was
it was different. I'm going to mark that up as something different. I know.
So we won't make that mistake again. But all right, well, that's about that for now.
Put the recorders out.
We're here, first night here. It's a little bit rainy, but what do you guys think so far of this trip out to Area A?
Got a good feeling about it.
Just because of what happened before when they left.
Yeah.
That is, I'm very excited. I'm calling it rock rubbing. It was just I have never heard rocks do that naturally.
It was definitely weird. I've never heard it either.
It wasn't rocks falling because you'll hear the This was rubbing. This was long rubbing.
The activity that's been happening out here too has me
but it was
excited.
It was a good 10 seconds we were listening
10, 15 seconds.
Wow.
And to where we looked at each other and we're like, are you hearing that?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
And it just kept going as we're talking to each other.
Yeah.
And then he's like, go hit record.
Yeah.
And then when I went to his camera to go figure it out for a minute.
That's right. That's
it was already done.
Happens
it
here.
was already done. And then nothing after that.
And you were saying, Robert, some of this recent activity.
Well, now that that I've talked to Scott, I haven't really talked to him about what's been happening out here, but it's been pretty active, and I'm glad to hear it. I'm excited. Maybe even some sightings have happened out here, so it seems like it's ramped up a little bit.
It could be because
I think because of the building.
Well, the buildings
little
too.
cabins
I know
being
these
built.
cabins caused a little bit of.
There's this one, and there's another one right there, and
there's
there's
going to be 4
third.
total. And when they first started putting these up, it kind of ramped up almost. It seemed, and they were finding footprints around the cabins.
You have those pictures, right?
I do have I did take some pictures. Probably take me a long time to scroll through my phone and
Yeah,
find
but
them.
we can show them at some point.
Oh yeah, I think so.
Okay. Well, guys, I mean, everyone's a little tired. It's a little wet. I might stay out here for a little bit and just listen, but we're not going to do a fire, But yeah.
Yeah, I think with the rain, I'm pretty tired too. Been going at it pretty hard for the last couple of days. So
Right.
I think just get a little rest, and we'll be here for another 4 days. So
See what we can make work.
I think so. I think something will happen. I really do.
Fingers crossed.
Fingers crossed.
Yep, fingers crossed.
All right. There's that for you.
Yeah, look at that rain coming down. That's kind of.
Okay, I've got my audio hanging in that tree. It is almost 12:45 a.m. A little bit of an early night. A little tired. I'm gonna call it, and hopefully something happens. Here's our little cabin setup. What do you think, Rob Roy?
Oh, I think it's awesome. This is so cozy. I think we're definitely going to get attacked tonight by a Sasquatch.
The Battle of Area A.
Yeah. Oh gosh. Yeah. The
metal.
first Area A attack.
We got the double bunk, and over here, Brian's got his own little section of the world. How's that go? How's that look? He's got a whole little section.
Only bumped my head once.
It's a very cold and rainy day here at Area A. Just kind of getting ourselves up and moving. Slept in for a bit. Hoping the weather clears up so we can actually go out and explore a little bit. But there's our little cabin we were staying in. So yeah, that's kind of the deal today. Gross day. Really hoping it'll be a turn in the weather. Just walking around out here in the woods and just thinking about how much different this looks in my mind than when I've been here, even though I've been here. I've spent 3 weeks of my life at this location previously, and now this will be the 4th week, so almost a month. Place I think about all the time. I go to a lot of other places in North America, but just in the Washington Cascades, all over the place, in search of mysteries and the Sasquatch mystery, and yet this is the place I think about probably the most. I don't know. Just kind of sharing my raw thoughts off the cuff here, and I don't know, this place is just very significant to me, but also I think to whatever's going on out here. It feels natural to be back here at this location. It really does. Even though it's changed a bit and we have more little small cabins, there's just something about Area A that will always fascinate me.
It feels good. It feels kind of like coming home again in a way. I always get excited coming out here because of the whole mystery of it all. But I mean, it's a beautiful place, Sasquatch or not. I love to go fishing out here, see the wildlife, enjoy it, and hope that we hear something epic. And sometimes we do. It's very common. So I'm hoping we get it. I'm hoping something happens. So it could be a variety of things. It could be rocks thrown, it could be tree knocking, it could be, who knows, maybe a vocalization. All of it, I swear, I think everything that Bigfoot supposedly does has been heard out here. So, including the baby crying, you know, that was new to me. I didn't really hear a lot of people talking about baby crying up until Scott talked about it. But anyway, interesting place. It is good to be back. Too bad the weather sucks, but this is a rainforest. So that's what we have to deal with.
What happened here?
This is an area where Scott's brother Kurt, who was out here for quite a while by himself, when these cabins were being built, started finding footprints around the cabins, but this was one of the spots right here. Of course, you can't see it anymore. It was last year. I'm thinking there was another one down there. It's pretty hard to find prints in this kind of squishy environment.
But you actually saw them.
I saw it. It looked like the typical Fred Flintstone outline. It was kind of watery. It was raining out here. It wasn't in the best shape. But you know, Kurt showed me that. Down there, of course, by the old bathroom is where they supposedly had a sighting, a dual sighting. Two different guys saw the same being, let's call it, walking by the bathroom. That's exciting too. And so it's ongoing. There's still activity out here. It's pretty interesting. I hope we get lucky.
All right, we are walking through the woods here on our way to the upper fire pit, as we have referred to it as. It's the area where a lot of interesting stuff has happened. We'll kind of go over it, but here's the path. Very wet, very lush. So we'll get there and check it out and everything. Okay, so here's your view.
Nice.
Above.
Cabins.
Here it is. Wow. Memories come rolling back.
Yeah, it's pretty much the same. Look, there's still the same, this little thing we found, the banjo pick. The rock, yeah. I put the rock there. So this is upper.
This is the upper fire pit, yeah.
Some action here. This thing, we actually found it. Somebody, were you here when we found this?
No, I don't think I was.
It's a guitar pick, a finger pick. Oh. And it's tied on a string, and we found it hanging in the tree up here. I don't know, it's just kind of odd because we never saw it before. And we come up here frequently. This is about the general area where I heard the first two tree knocks I've ever heard.
Well, wait, you felt like they came from here.
Yeah, this is kind of this area. Scott thinks it was lower, but I was standing literally right there. And this is kind of the general area where it happened.
Yep.
And two knocks, very loud, freaked me out, actually scared me. Actually, you know, I didn't run, but I walked as fast as I could back to the cabin. And
yeah.
It was
it
looks
like
a lot of emotions in it because it was real. All of a sudden, after I heard that, it's freaking real. It is. It's real. I mean, there's nobody up here.
Looks like nobody's used the fire pit in a while.
It does not.
Wait, so there was somebody, I mean, I've been out, it was 2 years since I've been out here,
sure.
But what you're saying is somebody saw a tree come down out here?
Well, they didn't so much see it as they heard it. It was such a massive tree. Like I'm pointing at that big one right there. And they were just up here, just chit-chatting and hanging out. And it was that way, I believe. Probably 100, 200 feet back, but it came down. That's a lot of noise. That's a big tree.
Especially when it's so quiet out
Yeah,
here.
you can hear how
hear
quiet.
anything.
So it unnerved them and they left. They went back down to the cabin.
Yeah, well.
Again, it was blown. It was rainy. It was not the best day either. So you got to add that to the mix.
Kind of like today, but I mean, at least it's not blowing right now.
Yeah.
But Okay, so as we're standing here by the upper fire pit, we wanted to run Brian through the what had happened here, Rob Roy.
Oh yes.
So
that was what? That was pretty epic.
That was cool. That was cool.
An epic evening.
So as I recall, Brian, if you wanted to scoot right up there, I'll stand exactly where I stood.
Yeah.
Which was maybe right here.
And I was standing about right here.
I think you were sitting.
I might have been. I might have been right on this bench.
There was you and Ron and Eli. You guys were sitting right there. I was standing here. I remember because I kept leaning back and like, whoa. We had the fire going.
Yeah, we had definitely kind of dropped our guard a little bit, and we were just enjoying ourselves, laughing. We were actually belly laughing.
Oh yeah, there was.
I can't help but wonder if that had something.
Some hilarity ensuing.
Yeah.
Some impressions and
involving Steven Tyler.
Yes. Steven Tyler impressions. So we're sitting here. I'm standing. I'm the only one standing. You guys are on the little benches there, and maybe it's like 3 in the morning. I mean, it was pretty late.
It was around 2, a little after 2. It was after 2. So.
Yeah, it was late.
Yeah.
And I'm standing here, and I hear this distinctive kind of knock, like really like a. It sounds like that percussion thing that the jam block.
Yeah, I remember I heard something, but you were the first one to verbally say,
yes.
Hey,
you can hear it on the audio.
We were all loud.
I'm like, whoa.
Yeah, and
I start going, whoa. And then quiet. And then you hear, I mean, to my mind, it sounded like that direction, rocks, falling down and hitting the shoreline, and then breaking stuff on the way down.
Someone hit the beach and
it would hit the rocks and then kerplunk into the water.
And then some would hit but it was so much chaos in our group.
And we're all kind of just caught off guard.
Yeah, and then remember we were all trying to find our gear. So we put our cameras down and stuff.
Yeah, we're all holding thermal, and we start panning with the thermals, and it went on, and you heard a couple other knocks. I mean, there was multiple things that happened during that time.
I don't know if you heard. What I heard too is after the first initial rocks got thrown, I heard what sounded like a mini bulldozer go about 8 feet into the woods, like a crashing sound. And then
it was chaos. So there in the audio you can hear the rock throws, or I'm not going to say they're 100% rock throws, but I assume you can hear that, and you can hear the knocks pretty well.
Yep.
2 of the knocks are very distinctive, and you can kind of hear us whispering like, oh, whoa, listen.
It sounded more. I watched the show, listening to the audio. It was way more epic in person.
Yeah, it sounded like
really
it was
hard to get that through.
It was more distant. Yeah, it was up there.
It was quite a ways down that way.
Yep.
But yeah, it was something throwing rocks. It was like a human down there.
That's what it sounded like.
Just chucking rocks.
Like here, ready?
Remember, we chucked rocks.
That's what we did. And I'll
from right here, and we could make it to the water, but you had to make it through the trees.
Yeah, that's the problem. Yeah. Let's see if I can see the beach. I can't even see the beach down there. Right?
Yeah.
I'm gonna get a different rock, actually, a little bit easier to throw.
Well, if you're gonna fall, do it now because we're recording.
Exactly.
Try with this guy. Yeah, that's a little big one. I was chucking like a little more baseball-y size.
Yeah. All right, ready? Here we go.
Yep. Look at that. It hit the tree. I mean, it's hard
That's
to
kind of what
throw
it sounded like. Stuff was breaking along the way, but it was hitting the rock beach.
Yeah, it was hitting the beach, and some of them were hitting the beach and water. There.
See, that's just a straight water. So I don't know, man.
But that's the sound. It was very distinctive. You knew exactly what it was the second you heard it.
Yeah.
So, very cool. It was a very cool.
That was probably the most defining moment I've had up here at the upper fire pit.
The epic moments I've ever had up here.
Yeah.
And I've only had a handful.
Right.
Not much that I could say. There's been so many moments where a group of guys are standing here and somebody will say, "I heard that. Did you hear that?"
Yeah.
Goes, I heard it over there.
But no one. But when that kind of stuff happens, it's not like everyone's hearing it at the same time. Right. It's like when Brian and I heard that rock rubbing last night. We both heard it. We were looking at each other like there's no room for interpretation. We both heard it. Yeah. It's not like, oh, did you hear that? I heard a knock. Yeah. Oh, I didn't hear it. Ambiguous.
Because we were able to look at each other and be like, what the F?
and I'm looking at you. I'm like, there's something going on. Yeah. So
and it was still going on as we're talking to each
other. Right.
It reminds me too of the time I heard a yell, and the yell came from way over that direction, but it was literally like a man just going, "Ah!" And we had just put a huge, basically a Christmas tree in the fire. There was a couple there that were really loud, so it was very noisy.
Yeah.
And this thing cuts loose over here, and Scotty was sitting right across the fire from me, and we immediately made eye contact. We looked at Kelly, and his eyes were big, and this thing's still going. It's like, ah! It tapers off, and that was it. That's what we heard. But
so yeah, there's the I guess the chronicles of the upper fire pit, you know. So let's we're gonna hike up back to the ridge and see what's going on up there.
It's really cool up here.
Yeah, it's great. We got some wild blueberries going on here. Not a lot of them, but just enough. That's good. How steep that is. So this is where Beans had a camera right here. Rob Roy.
Oh, is that where it was?
I think it was right here because we had deer coming through here.
Nice.
Yeah, so
now we're on top. We've mastered it.
now we're on the ridge. Now
Yeah, we can go. Okay.
this way, I'll show you guys the camp. Yeah, I'll tell you guys exactly what happened. See this?
Nice spot.
We cleared it, and look at nothing has like grown back in there. This is where we had one tent. So both the years that I camped up here, we had one tent here, and I would put my tent there. So first year it was me and Eli there, Ron was here, and then the second year it was Damon there, and me and Luca were there. So yeah, so the issue was you're in this little bowl, and there's like a little burrow over here now. Something's been digging here. The problem would be that, you know, I'm laying in the tent, right? I'm laying here, and you start hearing stuff, and I'm trying to get out with the thermal and like crawl out from under the tent. Yeah. So imagine this, like you're on the ground, and I can't, like, right in front of me I have this big mossy kind of mess, and they're all over. The only way to get clearance would be to come up here like this.
Right.
So, and then the next year when we camped out here, I put a thermal on a tripod over there facing that way, and just got birds and little critters, but
Sure.
we had nothing happen. But so basically what happened was, as we were out here, basically we were right here, I was camped right here. It was like on and off rain, but it wasn't that much. And laying in the tent, and you would hear like a crash or a knock. It sounded like it was coming from that way. And then you'd hear like, it was almost like something was like stomping, coming closer. And Ron, I guess, was sleeping at this point, but yeah, I'm sitting here and Eli and I are talking, and we're like, what the heck? Sounds like it's getting closer. And then like you'd hear it further back. So I don't know what was going on. And the unfortunate thing is in the audio, it doesn't even sound that good.
Right.
The audio,
Yep.
But to hear stomping on ground like
Yeah.
this,
it was weird, man.
it's
It was
gotta
like,
be something big.
Yeah.
well, what's so weird is that,
exactly.
you know, we're hearing this, and like there's these knocks, and sound like they're coming from different direction. You got to understand, the sound travels in such a weird way out here.
Sure.
But then the next night, you know, we never saw anything that first night. And then the next night, we also camped up here, and we heard nothing of that sort, but we heard just sea lions all night in the bay. You would hear them.
Yeah. They make a very troglodyte sound.
And then you'd hear, like, they would respond from across the bay. And it was all night. So we didn't hear anything other than that second night. The first night, we heard all this stuff, no sea lions. Right. And it was definitely like, it sounded like it was here in the woods. And behind me is that point. So the idea was, if we're camping up here, maybe something, if it goes around us, I don't know. I mean,
well,
it's hard to say, but it was weird. I can't say it was definitive or anything, of course, but that's just me trying to explain the general situation when we were camped here.
Awesome.
So,
you know, we recorded something similar on the Zoom one night, and with the headphones on, it was the stomping sound, like exactly
right.
With the headphones, you could hear it go from left to right, and it sounded like, we all said it sounded like a running back, just going boom, 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 boom. Like,
that's what was so weird, was that, you know, like, I don't know what it was, right? Maybe it could have been a bear stomping, moving. I don't know. I mean, but the knocks, and it would sound like it's getting closer, and then you'd listen in, you're like expecting and waiting for it to show up.
Right.
And then it starts trickling rain, and you're like, oh, you're listening, and then it would be distant again. Yeah. And it would sound like it get closer. And this happened a couple times. Right. And from what I understand, the story goes that the guys that were looking at the property before the current owner, they camped up on this somewhere in this area, not up here maybe, but closer to where the cabin is, and they had something running through their camp, and apparently they didn't want to buy the place. They were like, too many bears, or they thought it was something weird or creepy.
Yeah.
So that's why we chose to stay up here, and I don't think anyone's really camped up here since.
I don't know a lot of people that have camped up here but you.
Yeah, so we camped up here, and we left the tent here all week too. And you know, I don't know.
I don't know if I would camp up here. I've heard more activity just down at the cabin.
Yeah.
And it's odd. It's even like when I found the footprint next to the bathroom. I said out loud, "You got to be shitting me," because I had been working so hard up in here, and yet there it is, right next to the bathroom.
Well, I'm thinking, you know, because you're, but here's the thing: you're coming up into these areas. You're kind of disrupting, or so maybe something's coming down. That's why I think we had stuff happen here, is because something was maybe curious why we were here. The second year it didn't seem to work, so that's why I think now we go somewhere else, try something else. So I mean, I don't know. There's
a lot of
it's a guessing game
to be around here right now, so chances are better.
Yeah, you can see this is pretty defined. So here's how clear, look how clear the water is. Wow.
It's gorgeous.
Something just started swimming over there.
Oh, was it the bird?
No, something was, I saw like a fish or something jump.
It's undescribably beautiful. Everywhere you look, it's.
And just look how thick it is in the woods. I mean, you can't even get out there. There could be something right there watching us right now.
It's easy to hide. And the footsteps, you can't hear it.
No.
It's quiet as a mouse fart.
So the story is, when we were kayaking out in this section of the bay out here, Ron had an unfortunate capsizing event, and we technically didn't even make it to this beach. We actually made it to the rocks outside the beach over there, but my plan was I didn't want to get pulled into the water, so my idea was going to be to bring him to this beach, and we would do the hike we just did, hike back through the woods, get to the cabin and turn the wood stove on, because that water is real cold. So what do you got here, Rob Roy?
Well, this is something we found with Beans and I walked down here a couple years ago, and
oh, look at that!
Just walking up here, I found that little hand cart.
Yeah, you can see it.
Yep.
There's this Devil's Club, but
the wheels are chewed on.
Yeah.
Other than that, you could probably use it. Put new wheels on it.
See the plastic grip at the top.
Yep.
All right.
I don't think
we're continuing on our way up.
Must be a really hot spot for all animals.
Look at the size of that thing, huh?
But it is bright. Reminds me of a king crab.
Here's a size comparison for you. Holy moly. That's a good food source.
Huh.
That's like a huge meal.
But that's kind of cool. That's kind of the highlight so far. It's kind of a crazy.
Well, it stands out so, like in this environment. Look how green and gray and black it is. And then
I don't
you just
think I've ever seen that here. That's a good find.
Big orange mushroom. I mean, it just stood out on the trail, you know?
Sure. Oh yeah, dude. Boom.
This terrain is so difficult to operate in. I just want to emphasize that. I know I have in the past in videos here from Alaska, but this temperate rainforest is kind of like a merciless type of environment. Devil's Club, and just this is so much more overgrown than it was even a few years ago. All this coming in. Brian and I are just talking about how weird that
you know,
rock?
just like a couple. We're just picking up rocks, just trying
Yeah,
to
we're trying to
recreate a rubbing sound, and it was just nowhere near as loud. But it was that same type of. It was just very slow.
Hold on.
Yeah.
But imagine that sound, but coming from all the way on the other side of that point.
Louder, but it was like slow. It was very odd.
It was like deliberate.
It was for 10 to 15 seconds.
Wish we had it on audio, man.
Now it's like hitting us all over again. As we're
Yeah, because
trying
I'm
to
standing here
recreate.
looking over in that direction.
Wow.
Standing looking at where it came from, it was down that way.
Yeah.
So, and we could hear it from there up at the deck, you know? So, it's frustrating. I want it to happen again, but now it's also raining.
It
And
just adds to the place.
but it was so quiet yesterday without the rain, you know?
You know, and it was just when they left. It was weird.
Yeah,
Just when they left on the boat.
right. Here we go. We're
Nice day.
hiding away in the cabin right now. It's
Yeah, it's cozy.
pouring rain. We're just kind of. There's Rob Roy.
Thumbs up.
I'm kind of hoping.
I don't know about thumbs up. at
Hoping
this
for
point.
the
It's gonna
rain
be
to
nice
stop.
tomorrow.
Yeah, we're talking about the frustrations of the weather out here and how much of a crapshoot it can be. You
Just
know,
frustration.
it's
Yeah.
like,
It's too bad. It's really too bad.
what do you do when it's this bad? You know,
Yep.
you don't know what the weather's gonna be like, and you know, it's not like we're fair weather. We were hiking around in the rain all day.
I mean, yeah.
It gets
I-
to be
I wanna-
too much.
I want to have a fire tonight too, but
Yeah,
man, it
you want to
just-
sit around the fire and be able to hear. Like when we first
Yeah.
got here yesterday, it wasn't raining.
I can't
Brian,
wait to have
Brian
a
and I
fire.
heard that weird
We'll call the rock
rock rubbing, and now
That was
you know
interesting.
you're
I've
kind of
never heard
just
rock rubbing. That's a first.
yeah,
Yeah.
that was weird. And then you know we were hoping, oh, this will be good, and then the rain starts coming in. So
And
this
it
is
hasn't
probably just
stopped.
going to seem like we're complaining about the rain nonstop because I guess we kind of are. But
About the rain.
it would mist and we get excited. Oh, let's go
Oh, it's
out.
gonna
let's
break
go out
up a
for-
little
and then,
bit, yeah.
And
It's
then
much better.
boom, it just starts coming down
Yeah,
again.
it
And it
just
happened
sucked
all.
in.
It happened all day.
see, that's the thing. It's like, you know, we go out now, we sit around a fire. We're
You can't
wet,
hear
we're
anything.
miserable. You can't hear anything. That's
No.
the biggest thing.
No,
you can't hear
can,
anything.
and it's you're just all you can hear is this rain pouring,
Yep.
and everything's soaked. Yeah.
It just makes it makes it very difficult to go out there. We'll do it, like, you know, if we've got a few days left. If we have to, we'll go out in this, but it just makes it so much more difficult.
That's
and
right.
dangerous because you're adding another element of cold weather
Yeah.
into it.
You don't want to get sick out here.
Hypothermia,
Ruin
yeah.
The rest of your trip.
Yeah, this is our rant session right now.
Yeah.
We're getting all of our frustrations out
Yep.
as we cower in this cabin.
Outtakes.
Yeah, as we
The
cower.
outtake. This will make the outtake.
No, I might just even leave it in the main video.
Groveling.
Hopefully there's an update to the situation and Mother Nature decides to be kind. We'll see. I don't know. No guarantees, right?
That's right.
She knows it too.
All right.
I'll show you guys.
Good morning. It's luckily not raining very hard right now. It's just a little bit of a drizzle. I think residual rain from the wet trees and everything. But last night was just such a crazy torrential downpour. We just didn't even attempt to do a fire or go and explore in the woods or anything at night. It was just crazy how hard it was raining. So we were kind of hiding away in the cabin, hoping the weather holds out a little bit more today like this, and we get some chances to go explore and maybe it starts clearing up a bit. Other than that, we're just going to enjoy the day and see what else we can see or hear today. rain has finally kind of subsided. I'm going to take this opportunity to get my drone up and get it up into those valleys and see if I can't scout out some of the areas we'd like to get to. My window of opportunity right now could close soon, so I just want to get up there ASAP. What I want to do is follow the river drainage up to these lakes that the river originates from. With the fair weather now, I mean, this is about as good as it's going to get right now. Brian and I are going to go on a little exploratory hike. We're the only two here right now. Everyone else went out. They're doing fishing and other stuff. But what's always interesting in this location is it seems like some of the activity happens after the boat leaves. So that's why we're going to kind of go poke around. Maybe something will be surprised to see us out here. We've been making noise, playing music, so I don't know. I guess we'll see what that entails. But yeah, this is definitely, you know, a good way to explore. We're walking the shore right now, and the tide is coming in, so we probably won't be able to walk back here on the shore, but we'll find out if that's going to be possible. Just walking along the shore and trying to get to the opening of the creek there, where I want to hike up if we get really good weather, either tomorrow or the day after that. So yeah. Wait. Oh yeah, look at that guy. Dare me to touch it?
Yeah.
See how that goes over?
Yeah, well, they don't have the stinging tentacles, so I think you're good.
Nah, I don't want to.
I'll pee on it.
There's more. You can see there's a lot of them actually.
Yeah.
Look in the water.
Coming in with the tide.
There's a ton of little ones. All you can't really see them probably on the camera.
It's like mama right there.
Yeah, that's the big one. Interesting. That could be a food source too. I mean, that's the thing about this environment is you have so many marine resources that wash up or that come to the shore that it's easy to find food either right on the coast or up in the mountains. You have a plethora of examples. That's why, as we've talked about before here in Alaska, you got the coastal brown bears, which get, I think on average, 200 pounds larger than inland grizzly bears. All right, for those asking if we're just walking around out here unarmed, the answer is no. Brian is carrying .357 Magnum, and I have in my Hill People Gear chest rig, I've got a .44 Magnum. Obviously, it's very serious out here with wildlife, so we do not want to mess around. Hopefully we don't run into anything, but you've got moose and brown bear. It's definitely no joke out here. Don't come out here unarmed, or at least carry bear spray, bare minimum, I would say. So yeah. Well, we're gonna head that way now and see what we can find. We're definitely losing real estate here. Oh no, this is tricky.
Tricky and slippery.
Bad. All right. Looks like something else has been up here. Could be like a goat or something.
Whew.
Yeah.
It's like walking on roots, huh?
All right, I'm up.
All right, that wasn't too bad.
No, I think you just want to cut up here. Yeah, we're gonna get soaked again. Okay. Well, a lot of blueberries.
Yeah, back in Blueberryville.
Right on cue, the rain picks up. Clouds are rolling in. Fun stuff. You can see there's impressions going up this way. It's like a natural spot to put my foot. You okay?
Oh, it's on my leg.
Oh boy, all we wanted to do was get on the beach to an area where we could find where the maybe where the rock rubbing incident happened. We'll have to do that early when there's low tide.
Yep, low tide, and as soon as the weather's good, we got to get out. We just got to go out.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like every time we do this, it starts to rain.
We're still bushwhacking up the side of the hill. We found a path up and looks like there's some impressions. Something's walked up here before. What that something is a question. You can see how spongy it is. We're not even leaving impressions. I mean, we do a little bit, but
ours are more ripping.
But it'll bounce back. We probably sound like a bunch of complaining old ladies by now, but here we go. We are soaked head to toe.
Head to toe.
Just what are you gonna do out here? It's merciless. I don't know if that even helped.
Embrace it.
We're just gonna keep going up this way and
might as well.
cut back.
Now it's a little more.
So much Devil's Club. Let me just see. Hello. Hey, bear. This is definitely the kind of area you got to be bear aware. Broken there. We're going to cut our way back. As we continue to the cabin, we found some old barrels out here.
Yeah, we actually found something out here.
That is interesting. Could have been here forever. Okay, so here's your dangerous scenario, right? Soaked, pretty much, wet, and now we got a wind coming in from the coast. So this is, you know, let's say we're out here, we don't have a warm shelter or a way to warm up. We'd have to get a fire going. Get a fire going in this. I mean, it can be done. It's gonna be very difficult.
Yeah, spending an overnight in this is no
in this kind of terrain,
it's
you know.
danger.
Should be back at the cabin. I see the boat, but that was a little bit of a circumnavigation adventure here.
Ugh.
Rain's picking up even more, but we've made it out to the shore. At least now it'll be easier to walk back. Oh, jeez Louise. Oh my God. You look like you're having fun. Still coming down pretty good out here. Hoping it'll settle down a little bit for tonight at least. I'm trying to do a fire for the last 2 nights and it's just not working so far.
Isn't that something?
Well, what do you think, Rob Roy?
Oh, I'm definitely up for a fire tonight.
The trail is just literally a river in the trail up to the cabin here. Pouring buckets right now. Soaked.
That's what I mean, we can throw trout in there.
Look at this, look at this. Look how deep this is.
Yep.
Oh my God. Oh yeah, let's go do a fire in the woods tonight. That sounds like fun. We were out for less than a minute and we're soaked.
Yep.
This is the worst it's been the entire time.
Oh yeah, this is
And it's been raining every day. This takes the cake.
unbelievable. Unbelievable rain.
It's the cherry on the top.
I'm starting to grow gills. Yeah. Yeah, see right there, gills. Right underneath the beard line.
What is this, Waterworld?
It is. We're turning the whip.
Kevin Costner over here.
It's up to the dolphins.
As we settled in for the night during this torrential downpour, little did we know that things outside were about to get interesting.
Maybe just drips like a big.
Well, we were just all kind of laying in bed.
Yeah.
And you noticed that the light came on?
Yep. One of the
There's
sensors
motion
went
activated
off,
lights outside.
and it was the first sensor that goes off on the path.